Hear these words from the Gospel of John. 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, the home of Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. There, they gave a dinner for him. Martha served, and Lazarus was one of those at the table with him. Mary took a pound of costly perfume, made of pure nard, anointed his feet, wiped them with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, the one who was about to betray him, said, "Why was this perfume not sold for 300 denarii and the money given to the poor?" He said this not because he cared for the poor, but rather he was a thief and he kept the common purse and used to steal what was put into it. Jesus said, "Leave her alone. She bought it so she might keep it for the day of my burial. You always will have the poor with you, but you do not always have me." On this Holy Monday, as we hear the preparation for Jesus's burial, and we are given this phrase of "the poor will always be among you," it can feel like a dismissal of having to care for the poor. And yet, really what's being said is, don't use that as an excuse to ignore what is in front of you. You've had all this time to care for the poor, and you will continue to have time to care for the poor, so always do so. And when it is time to prepare somebody to transition from this life to the next, allow that to be a priority as well. As you figure out how to care for one another, take a cue from Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. Martha doing what we have seen her in so many stories doing, serving. Find ways to serve and care for one another. Life is difficult and complex, and one of the greatest ways that we can know we are alive, that we are present with one another, that we see one another, is through our acts of service, finding ways to connect with those across from us and finding ways to be there for one another. Be like Lazarus, who sits at the table, shares in communion, is present, not hurried, who has already experienced his own resurrection as he prepares for Christ. As Easter people, as we make our way through Holy Week, may we too find ways to be Lazarus, joining around a table, finding ways to commune with one another. And during our current safety measures of the pandemic, we may not be able to do that in person, and yet there are still ways to connect and commune with each other. And be like Mary, realizing that caring for someone as they are about to transition from this life to the next is vital. Be present, be tender, and prepare them. Each of these siblings have ways that we can turn to and learn from. Each connecting with Christ differently, serving, communing, preparing. And so on this Holy Monday, I pray that each of us find ways to serve one another, to share meals, whether that's this Thursday, on Monday, Thursday at our Agape feast, or maybe you are vaccinated and those you wish to see are also vaccinated and you're actually able to share a meal. Maybe it's with family that you haven't seen in a while and now you feel safe enough to do so. Maybe it's donating and giving a feast to somebody else. And as we prepare, not just for physical death, but any major life transition, may we find aspects of Mary in our actions that allow us to prepare one another for the complexities of life, knowing that no one season will ever be all we know. The pandemic is not all we will ever know in the future. And so as we prepare from what has been to what will be over this past year, may we find ways to prepare one another. The grief, the joy, the uncertainty, the hesitation, the excitement. May we find ways to be there for one another, preparing the way, giving a chance to be fully with one another, even if we can't physically be in the same space. Christ knew what was coming, and Lazarus, Mary, and Martha have given him a chance to be present in that knowledge. Judas, even before the betrayal, has shown ways that he desired to disrupt the gospel, to disrupt the ways of caring for one another. And not because his question is invalid. There is a question of, well, couldn't this money have been used for the poor? Sure. But the poor were already with you, Judas. The poor will be with you when I leave. What have you been doing? And why are you using this one moment to create another obstacle or difficulty for this one aspect of the gospel, preparing for death and resurrection? There are those in our lives who will be Judas. And at times, maybe we ourselves will without meaning to. As we continue from this Holy Monday and follow Jesus throughout these stories, may we find enough courage to ask who we are in this particular season of life. And as we ask, may we turn inward enough to know what we need to do to heal, to restore, to reconcile with God, self, and others, so that we too can find our way to Easter Sunday. Christ was able to be present in the moment of difficulty. He was able to receive the blessing of Mary. He was able to receive the company of Lazarus, and he was able to receive the gifts of Martha. May we also be like Jesus, learning how to open ourselves up enough to receive from one another, knowing that there is no way we can make it through this life alone. Holy Monday. We just sung our hosannas, and now we are preparing for burial. May we pause long enough to be present, to hear the teachings of Christ and his friends. Amen.
Oh, love to thee, O Christ, more love to thee. Hear thou the prayer I make on bended knee. This is my earnest plea, more love, O Christ, to thee, more love to thee, more love to thee. Once earthly joy I craved, sought peace and rest. Now thee alone I seek, give what is best. This all my prayer shall be, more love, O Christ, to thee, more love to thee, more love to shall my latest breath whisper thy praise. This be the parting cry my heart shall raise. This its prayer shall be, more love, O Christ, to thee, more love to thee, more love to thee. More love to thee.